Hi, my name is Bill Crowley, and I am the Executive Vice President at TechTarget. And what I wanted to talk about today is to review how TechTarget's best customers on the purchase intent side are using Priority Engine in the set of circumstances that we find ourselves now in the coronavirus crisis. So we went out and talked to our best customers about what they're doing with Priority Engine. And what we came back was really two major themes. One was in their general marketing, a need for intense focus on the things that really matter to the business, as well as trying to make a transition to what they regarded as the future disciplines of their marketing and sales teams. And we'll go through exactly what I mean by that. What we won't cover in this sort of coronavirus webcast are things like how long it's going to last, or why to keep marketing going during this period. I mean, these are topics covered in many different webinars, and there's a great resource from my colleague Rebecca Kitchens at TechTarget about what topics matter to IT buyers. So I'd refer you to that on that context. So I think the change that we're really talking about and that our customers are dealing with are threefold that are a result of the crisis. One is there are many fewer near-term deals. The real opportunities are much harder to find because tech buyers are putting a much higher bar on what projects are actually worth considering and pursuing. And the extension of that is with this greater deal scrutiny, every deal cycle is longer. So, they just are not going to close in nearly the speed that people are used to. And a corollary to that is the third trend, which is there is certainly increased competition for the deals because you have the same number of tech vendors and their reps chasing a smaller number of deals. And that's just in your market. A lot of our customers are finding competition from adjacent markets, from competitors they've never seen before. And all of this is really making it more challenging and requiring them to make some transitions. And so the three strategies that we hear our B2B tech company leaders are implementing just generically to get through this crisis are threefold, right? One, on the online marketing side, is that they're doing a significant content refresh. And they're focusing their content in market areas or in technology pain points where their solution is a must-have, and that will survive the sort of this period of time where they're casting aside things that are not important and focusing on the things where their technology becomes a must-have even in this crisis for sometimes a smaller subset of the market they used to be pursuing. The second is that they're ruthlessly prioritizing the accounts they go after, both for their reps and in their marketing. And they're using empirical data to prioritize those customers to the ones that are most likely to be real, most likely to progress, and most likely to close. And the third trend is they are really trying to begin to change the processes on their inside sales teams through sales training and process change. And they're focusing them on the process and the skills development that they believe to be the most important to be competitive right now and in the future. And so they're using this crisis to be a period where they make this transition. So let's talk about trend one, which is needing to get much more competitive with their content. And they see themselves refreshing their content areas, focusing on the areas where their solution is really a must-have, and then covering that much more completely than they had in the past. Covering every pain point that's a must-have for all the titles that might be involved in that area so that they're getting the greatest number of interested prospects. So not just focusing on one particular title. And that quantity focus helps in a couple of different ways. So that's the credibility they have on the topic when people are looking at their site, and it does impact their SEO and inbound. And so we do recommend, and we see people saying if they have a strong pandemic response angle, they are using it. But the best ones are being pretty careful not to resort to fear, uncertainty, and doubt in those materials because that just can turn people off. And as part of this focus on the content is that they are seeing them rethink their filters around what an ideal customer was. And sort of some of these efforts were around like, we really want to reach this type of director or this type of title. And now customers are telling us they're really shifting to prioritize prospects with the pain points they have and budgets from whatever title or whatever company they're coming from. And they're really beginning, in general, to focus their content on markets with a really enduring budgets through this period. And so how Priority Engine is playing into that is that first, they are really taking their account lists in Priority Engine and focusing them even more sharply around must-have areas and taking the contacts that come and getting that into their marketing automation system and prioritizing the nurture flows that are focused on that content. And they're staying very aggressive on the frequency here. Reach and frequency are always going to be important when it comes to marketing, and recognizing the need to cut through a lot of noise right now means that they've got to be hitting their prospects frequently with the right material to get through the noise. Another thing that people are doing is they are reviewing their content with TechTarget and our publishers and our market experts to make sure the content that they're creating is aligned with the topic trends that we're seeing on our sites today and in the last 8 weeks since the beginning of the corona crisis, to make sure it aligns with how people are looking at their market now. And then we're ensuring that this must-have content is being featured in the demand generation programs that we have. So making sure that all the things they think, that our customers think is the most important to use, that we're also using in our efforts on their behalf. Because TechTarget can really get that message out to hundreds of thousands of people, and with a frequency that is hard for our customers to replicate. So as far as the prioritization on the right accounts, where we do find it's really important is to make sure they're prioritizing accounts that have shown recent and strong interest in your key technology areas. Because what, in the last 8 weeks, I think it's fair to say that most IT departments have been really, all of their priorities have been shifted. So finding out what their priorities have been in the last few weeks becomes even more important. And then if you can do that empirically, really further identifying and prioritizing accounts to the ones that have the characteristics that make them more likely to purchase from you, not just their intense interest. So how Priority Engine playing into that for our customers is, first of all, they're using Priority Engine account lists to identify the accounts with intense and maintained interest after the crisis has hit. And that's one of the real strengths of Priority Engine, is that it is taking about the interest and the signals we've received in the last week and the last month. So there's no sort of mixed signal that you might have gotten from someone that was active in this in January or February. And so that behavior that says they're focused on your technology is a still priority is a great signal. And then the other features of Priority Engine allow you to qualify and filter lists even more to the accounts that would be a best fit for you. So using Inbound Converter to say who are the people who have been active on TechTarget in the last month and also visited your website, or are researching other vendors in your space, or are looking at your white papers, or even taking a list of your existing customers and prioritizing that list because they'll be more likely to buy from you. So using those prioritization features ends up being pretty important. And the final thing is trying to make this transition on the sales side. And they're recognizing the deal competition as being more intense, and the reps are going to need angles to get in and to compete in real opportunities in a much more focused way. And so the modern sales leaders that we're talking to say they realize the old school techniques of sort of calling high or working where they have a relationship, or obviously now someone that was they met at an event, is just not a way to do it. And they have to use advanced data because their competitors are doing it. And so online data is becoming a core practice for reps to become more competitive. And they're recognizing this is kind of the moment to progress along a number of different fronts. And Priority Engine ends up being a part of that strategy. And so the things that we're working with customers and customers are asking us to do is, first of all, do a refresher for the reps on how to use Priority Engine and purchase intent data in both prospecting or in a deal to help make them competitive. Many times our CSM, our customer success people, are being asked to help on the cadences that those teams are using and in email writing. But a big part of this happens on the customer side, where the marketers and the sales lead are having a frank discussion with the reps and saying, we need you to move past the persona only approaches or just calling a certain title and going to the people that are showing activity and finding a way in through there. Because that's an approach that we've seen over the last 3 years be very successful for more forward-looking enterprises. And then we need them to recognize that the contacts are on paths for competitors to get into your existing ops or existing competitors. So rounding out and finding more prospects to reach out to becomes a protection strategy in the deals you have. And one of the tools that we're working with customers is having them sign up more reps for the Priority Engine sales alerts, so that they are getting weekly updates on what's happening in their account from outside sources, so they know what's happening. And they're reinforcing that use by saying, hey, have you seen that Priority Engine sales alert? Or resending something that they've gotten from Priority Engine saying, have you checked this out? So again, these are the three major areas that we see customers using Priority Engine for that have been interesting and helpful. It's sort of refreshing their content and focusing it. It's prioritizing their list ruthlessly and regularly, and then using and refreshing their entire inside sales approach to focus on modern sources of data to be more competitive and to get into the deals that are real. So hopefully this is helpful. We're always looking for your feedback about what it works for you, or things that you'd like to try with us. So if you'd like to reach out to me, I'm Bill Crowley, which is bcrowley@techtarget.com. In the meantime, good luck through all this. Cheers. Bye-bye.